and welcome to Media Morals. I'm Em, and today we're going to be talking about Brother Bear. That intro was from Disneyland, but I didn't actually have time to fill the entire video in Disneyland, so we're here now to talk about Brother Bear, and I am back in my filming location. Do you think bears are scary? I know I personally have been raised with a lot of fear of like bear attacks and being hiking and stuff like that. You never think anything good's gonna happen when you run into a bear, you know? When I polled a bunch of random people that follow me on Instagram, I got some good numbers and statistics about what people think. A third of the people said that they think bears are scary, while the other 2/3 don't think bears are scary. However, I'm pretty sure all those people would kind of freak out if they saw a bear, like, in real life. I will let you know 11 people said they think bears are scary. Do you like hyenas? Because I know another famous Disney movie talks about hyenas. 61% of people said they do not like hyenas. So what does this all mean? Well, first, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite movies of all time, Brother Bear. This film came out when I was really little, so I didn't really get to watch it or really appreciate it until I was a little older. But if you're not familiar with the story, it's based off of this Alaskan traditional story about three brothers. If you're not familiar with the story, I'm not as familiar with the traditional story, so I'm going to focus on the film when I describe it. In the film, Kenai witnesses his brother sacrificing his life to save his other brother and him from a bear. But then Kenai is really mad about that, and he's like wants to get revenge and sets out to kill the bear that killed his brother. However, the spirits notice this and they turn Kenai into a bear in order to show him how not all bears are evil spirited and they actually are like people and they're not monsters.
Walt Disney Pictures presents an all-new motion picture.
I'm not going to give a spoiler warning for this review since it's like I'm not focusing on the end of the movie. This is mostly the first like 25 minutes of the film, so if you haven't seen it, like that's just the premise. The rest of the movie focuses on this little guy, Koda, and Kenai, and it's great. You can kind of tell what the movie's about just from the first 25 minutes, you know? I don't need to spoil anything for you guys. What does this mean about all my survey results and that random stuff I just did? There are other instances of this in movies and many other children's media in particular where certain species and animals are identified as scary and stereotyped throughout a lot of movies. For example, the famous line from Wizard of Oz, "Lions, tigers, and bears, oh my." Just lists 3 animals that they want you to think are really scary. Especially being little, it's very impressionable, and now most people are kind of like scared of lions, tigers, and bears. We're seeing that certain species of lions, tigers, and bears are becoming endangered or threatened. And that just means that we're not giving them enough care because in our minds, we think of them as villains or evil, and we're not protecting them as much as other species that look cute. Now, I would like to seriously drive the point that this movie deviates from this path.
What's going on? What?
And it actually teaches kids that bears are like cool and not evil. Oh, I'm gonna put some video clips if I can find them of Koda just being an absolute baby.
My name's Koda. Say it with me. Koda. But I'm a raging ball of brown fur.
Oh, really?
Along with this message, there's a much more general idea demonstrated throughout the Brother Bear movie, and that is about ignorance and how it causes discriminatory behavior. There's a scene in Brother Bear where it is revealed that bear refers to people as monsters, and then people refer to the bears as monsters. So it's like kind of hypocritical.
See through another's eyes.
Those monsters are really scary, especially with those sticks.
You can see that they both think each other are the monsters because they're ignorant about how each of them lives. It really shows a lack of understanding between two groups, which is something that we see in the real world and not with just bears, but with people. In the case in our society where one group has some power over the other, this also causes social inequality to take place and two groups to hate each other ultimately. Yes, I'm starting to delve more into like civil rights movement and slavery topics, so this is deviating a lot from just bears.
I'm not a bear. Well, gee, eh? You're one big beaver.
It is at this point that I stress that empathy is the solution to all of these problems. Seeing a homeless person on the street and just feeling bad for them is not the same as having empathy. Although it might just seem like the same thing, empathy is so much different from just pity. Pity is just feeling sad for someone, but empathy is genuinely understanding and being aware of what they're going through and being able to take a good course of action in order to be respectful of the person.
And discover the meaning of brotherhood.
I always wanted a brother.
Back to my example of villainous animals in children's media. If we are only faced with the troubles faced by cute little mice like Mickey Mouse or puppies or kittens, we will never understand the troubles that are faced by other animals like hyenas and how they also have emotions and are actually trying to survive and live. Even Coda from Brother Bear. If he was presented in a different light, like the bears were in the beginning of the film, you would get a much different idea about who Coda was. So I ask you personally, stop being ignorant about things that you don't understand. I know that sounds pretty abrasive. Can I take a moment to just like appreciate Brother Bear? I think this movie is really good. It's really refreshing to see just like something progress in like character development. There's a lot of emotional like bombshells within that movie, and it's really it really like teaches you something, you know, about like empathy, which is my topic. And I do understand that some of these species can be considered like deadly, like, you know, sharks, like scary, right? Oh, I got a perfect statistic. I'm not sure. This is from Wikipedia. Oh, yeah, I found a citation. Okay, I have a statistic here. Charles Fergus, Wild Guide to the Bears, that every year in the 1990s, about 3 people were killed by bear attacks, whereas around 15 people were killed by dogs. So I think that begins to show you that maybe bears aren't something that we should be scared of.
Just back away.
Real slow.
They're not gonna have as much harm on us as we've been raised to believe they will. And maybe it's the same with other things in our life as well, like people. Maybe just because someone's a certain color doesn't mean something specific about who they are. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks again on Media Morals for another Disney review, and next week you'll see S for another book review. Until then, bye Internet!